In the my dear students, good evening. Once again, we are continuing this triple IT mains physics subject questions discussion. Now we have completed 11 questions in the previous session. Now we are starting with 12th question. If the 12th question reads like this: if a body loses half of its velocity on penetrating 3 cm in a wooden block, then how much will it penetrate more before it coming to the rest? So here, the body loses a body means it may be the bullet or sharp object. Mostly it might be a bullet. The bullet or the body, it has penetrated into the wooden block. After penetrating to 3 centimeters, it has lost how much? 3 centimeters. So from this we have to calculate the acceleration. So we will start with let the velocity of the body is v. After penetrating wooden block, the velocity will be the v2, that can be treated as the final velocity. Distance penetrated 3 centimeters. Then using the formula v square minus u square is equal to 2as, we can write the formula like this. Instead of v square, you have to substitute the final velocity and u square initial velocity, and then 2a. Instead of s, you have to substitute 3 centimeters. Then you will get we will get one equation, but that means 3v square by 4 is equal to 6a. Now next, now we have to calculate how far after this one, how far it penetrate, so that it has to come to rest. So this now we can start with initial velocity v by 2. That means that has at 3 centimeters velocity is v by 2, that we have that has been given because it has lost half of the velocity. So at 3 centimeters its velocity is v by 2, treating that as an initial velocity. When it completely penetrates, in the sense it comes to rest, that means its velocity is 0. Penetrating distance is, now we have to find out the penetrating distance, that can be taken as s1. Once again, using the formula v square minus u square is equal to 2as, then substituting the final and initial velocities, you will get minus v square by 4 is equal to 2as1. This is the equation 2. Now dividing equation 2 by equation 1, you will get that by very simple mathematical simplification. Then you will get 1 by 3 is equal to s1 by 6, and 6 is equal to 3s1. s1 is equal to 2. That means after 3 centimeters, it further penetrates a distance of 2 to stop, or just to penetrate to the edge. Just it will, after penetrating 2 centimeters, it will comes to the rest. That means it will completely come after before coming to the rest, it will penetrate another 2 centimeters. So this is the answer, and you may put your choice for this. Now I think you should have understood this question. So see here, the question can be asked in any ways. Here first the penetration has given like this, and they might have not give this 3 centimeters. They may give the last penetration, that is 2 centimeters, and find out where it will at which point it will lose half of its velocity. Like that also they can ask. Like that you have to mold yourself to answer the question in any number of ways. That is the main object behind it in the IIT main examinations. It will not be stereotype. The same question can be asked in different ways. Next, coming to the 13th question. Three different objects, masses m1 and m2, are allowed to fall from the same point from rest. Here there is no friction in the path. Here initial velocity is same and g is also same and no friction. So the final velocity as per the equation v is equal to u gt, that means r u v square minus u square is equal to 2as. In this relation, u is initial velocity and gravity is g. So here no question of here nowhere the final velocity depends upon the mass. So we can say that the final velocity, that means initial velocity is same, g is same, and the path is also same. Then automatically you will get final velocity same. So that's why the ratio of the three objects m1, m2, m3 will be 1:1:1. That means the final velocity, if any object under acceleration due to gravity, if the initial velocity is same, then final velocity will be the same, because it will not depend upon the mass of the body. That's why here the velocities are final velocities are same, so we will get 1:1:1. So next, coming to the 14th point, 14 problem. From a building, two balls A and B is thrown such that A is thrown upwards and B is downwards. If VA and VB are their respective velocities on reaching the ground, then what will be the options that that has been given? Here the one body is thrown upwards, that is VA has thrown upwards and VB is thrown downwards. That VA goes up and become its to a maximum height where its velocity will become 0, then comes down, once again comes to the plane of the projection or the point where it has been projected. That means it will have the same velocity, but direction is different. Previously it is upward. Once again, if it comes to the maximum point up to the point of projection, then its velocity will be the same, but towards downwards. That means entirely opposite direction. Here, in the previous time, and that is in previous situation, velocity B has been, body B has been projected downwards. There also it is having same velocity. That means both are having same velocities, so that its final velocity will be the same. So that's why VA is equal to VB is the best option. Here only thing is VA will take more time, because it has to go upward from the point of projection up to the maximum height where its velocity will become 0. Then once again comes to the point of projection where its velocity becomes once again V, which is the velocity of B also, which is downwards. Here if it return back to the point of projection, then its velocity is also V and towards downward as that of the VB. So both these velocities should be equal, but total time of flight will be the different. That is TA is greater than TB. So here the option is VA is equal to VB. I think that you understood this explanation. Clearly explains the thing. Next, coming to the 15th question. A car moving along a straight line whose motion is given by S is equal to 12t t square and 2t cubed, where S is in meters and t is in seconds. The velocity of the car at the starting point will be now it is a very simple one. It's here S is dependent on t. Then what we have to do? We have to, here a small mistake is there. in the typing itself, the s is equal to 12t t square minus t cubed. That is small correction in the question itself. Then the velocity v is equal to ds by dt. Then after differentiation, we will get 12 2t minus 3 t square means the final v will come as 12 plus 2t minus 6t square. At start t is equal to 0, putting t into t0, then you will get v is equal to 12 meters per second. The answer is 12 meters per second. So, like that. Next, coming to the 16th question, it is a very simple one. That 15th question one is just differentiating, and after getting the equation, as they wanted initial velocity, then put t is equal to 0, then you will get automatically 12 is equal, v is equal to 12 meters per second. Two cars are started 1 and 2 start from the rest and moving with the speeds of VA and VB, where V1 is greater than V2. Car 2 is ahead of the car 1 by S meters. When the driver of the car 1 sees car 2, what is the minimum retardation should be given to car 1 to avoid the collision? That means here car 1 is having more velocity. This car 1 velocity driver has seen that car 2 is ahead of him by a distance of S meters. So what he has to do? Now we have to find out the relative velocity of car 1 with respect to 2. As V1 is greater than V2, then relative velocity of the car 1 is with respect to car 2 is V1 minus V2. Now we can think that V2 is at constant, because that is the meaning of the relative velocity. That means we can treat V2 as constant. That is, by subtracting V1 minus V2, that means V2 will be the at rest and V1 V2 will be the velocity of the car 1. So now taking that V1 minus V2 as u and v is equal to 0, because it has to stop at the distance of s. So the distance s is equal to s, then we have to find out a, which will be the retardation. Here initial velocity is equal to V1 minus V2, final velocity is equal to 0, distance is equal to s, then substituting this in v square minus u square 2as is 2as, then you will get a simple just a substitution only. Instead of v 0 and instead of u, we have to substitute the relative velocity v1 minus v2 whole square, which gives that a is equal to v1 minus v2 whole square by 2s. That is minus signifies that it is a retardation. So retardation acceleration is minus v1 minus v2 whole square by 2s, but if it comes to the retardation, that is negative acceleration v1 minus v2 whole square by 2s. So if you call it as a retardation in the sense, no, there is no necessity of putting minus sign. Now coming to the 17th question. A bus accelerates uniformly from rest and acquires a speed of 17 kilometers per hour in 20 seconds. The acceleration of the bus is a very simple one. Very simple. It is started from rest. Then you can say u is equal to 0 and u is equal to 0 and final velocity will be 72 kilometers 17 kilometers per hour. That means 72 into 5 by 18 conversion into the meters per second. that means 20, then we will get 20 meters per second. Time taken is 20 seconds. Using the formula v is equal to u plus at, then substituting the value v for 20 and initial velocity 0, then a into the plus a into 20, then you will get a is equal to 20 by 20, a is equal to 1 meter per second square. That is the acceleration of the bus. It is a very simple one and it is also easier one. Next, 18th question. A person travels along a straight line road for the first half and with a velocity v1 and second half with a velocity v2. Then the then you have to find out the mean velocity. It is also simple one only. The length will be L in the first half. First half means L by 2 is the distance travelled with the velocity v. Then you will time t1 you will get L by 2 by v, that is equal to L by 2 v1. And likewise the second length also L by 2 will t2 is equal to L by 2 v2 you will get. Then this is the total this will be the 2 times, then getting adding these 2 times will get total time. Average velocity is equal to L by total length by total time. Then you will get simple mathematical simplification. Then you will get 1 by v1 by v2 is equal to 2 by v, which is very simple one. Okay, next 19th question. The displacement of a particle moving in a straight line depends on, it has given that the displacement of the particle x is equal to at cubed bt square plus yt 8. The ratio of the initial acceleration to its initial velocity depends on. We have to find out what is that. That means here the displacement has been given as time dependent. Then we have to find out v, and likewise acceleration also. Initial velocity we have to put t is equal to 0. Then you will get r. Initial acceleration we have to put t is equal to 0. Then you will get 2b. Here the ratio of v to initial v to the initial a, then you will get v by a is equal to r by 2b. That means it depends upon r by b. So the ratio is depends upon r, that is gamma beta. So it is also very simple calculation. Only thing is you are able to differentiate it. That mathematical calculus you have to know. If you know that, it is very easy. Next 20th question. A man throws a ball vertically upward and rises through 20 meters and return to its hands. What was the velocity of the ball and how much time it remains in the air? So a man has thrown. Here h is equal to 20 meters, g is equal to 10 meters per second. Then if at maximum height v is equal to 0, we have to find out the initial velocity using u square minus u square is equal to 2as minus 2as. Then you will get minus u square is equal to 2 into 10 into 20. That means minus minus will cancels. U square is equal to 400. U is equal to 20 meters per second. Then the total time of flight is equal to 2u by g. That is equal to 2 into 20 by 10. That is equal to, if it cancels, you will get 4 seconds. I think it is also very easy one. Only we have to use the just primary primary calculations here. Next 22. 21. Here the velocity of the particle varies with Here the velocity of the particle in the sense you can take it as the locomotive varies with a v is equal to a into root as. A is constant here. Here I have taken g as acceleration, then this v has been given, then differentiating this v you will get acceleration, that is equal to g. G means it here we have taken it as a acceleration. Then that after differentiation you will get that v is equal to a square by 2. That means after cancellation that root s and only on the numerator a into a is available and denominator 2 is available. That you have to know about this. As you people are MPC people, you might be knowing about of this, what is called this differentiation. That's why it is a is equal to v is equal to a square by 2. This is here a is constant, that you have to keep it in mind. At time t, v is equal to gt, that is equal to a square by t. V is equal to gt, v square by t. That means final velocity as is equal to gt means here as it starts from 0. So that's why v is equal to a square by t. Here the work done is equal to gain in kinetic energy. So that means it is will be moving on a almost horizontal platform. So here energy will be only the kinetic energy, gain in kinetic energy. If you compare to the energies of the initial velocity, initial position to the final position, only there will be gain in kinetic energy. So I have used this gain in kinetic energy technique. That gain in kinetic energy will mv is equal to half mv square. Then substituting that you will get 1 by 8 m a to the power of 4 to t square. So only thing is you have to, I have used the technique of using gain in kinetic energies, as energy is nothing but capacity to do the work. Almost work done by this one is nothing but gain in the kinetic energy that the locomotive has acquired during this displacement. So that if you understood that is very easy. If instead of going what is the displacement has done and finding the force, then multiplying this force into distance, then you will get work done. It will take simple more time than that of this process. It is very simple. Only thing is you have to consider that the work done is nothing but gain in the kinetic energy. Next, coming to the 23. A ball hits the horizontal with the kinetic energy with the angle of 45 degrees. That means when the ball is hitting at 45 degrees, in the end, in the sense in initial time also it might have projected with the same velocity with 45 degrees as initial velocity in the gravitational, in the absence of in the gravitational field, in the absence of any other forces, the initial velocity is equal to final velocity. Basing on that one, we can say that it have started with a velocity of that one. So it means its vertical velocity is equal to u sin 45, initial velocity is equal to u. If the projected with the same velocity upwards returns to the same velocity with the same velocity. At highest point only horizontal velocity is available. We have to find out the horizontal velocity at the highest point, because at the highest point the vertical velocity u sin 45 is equal to 0. So the available velocity in the highest point is u cos theta. Then we have to find out kinetic energy, half m u cos that is velocity square in the sense u cos 45 degrees whole square. Then half m u square, you will get cos 45 is equal to 1 by root 2. Then you will get a whole square, that you will get half mv square into half. Then half mv square is nothing but the initial velocity, that is equal to kinetic energy. Initial velocity, kinetic energy k. So then k is equal to, then substituting half mu square is equal to k, which is multiplied by instead of half mv square you can put k, then k into 1 by 2, k into 1 by 2 is nothing but k by 2. Here k is nothing but kinetic energy in the beginning, that is total kinetic energy when it hits. So that's why at the highest point, as the vertical velocity is 0, then we have to take into the consideration of only horizontal velocity. Because of that, k is equal to, we got k is equal to half 2 at horizontal point. Next 23. A ball is thrown upwards with the velocity. After time t, what will be the velocity of VA? Here initial velocity is equal to u, A is equal to g, then we have to find out VA after time t, that is equal to u minus gt, because it has thrown upwards. V released from the height h after time t, its velocity is equal to, u is 0, that's why its velocity will be minus gt, that is equal to Vb. Speed related to B is, speed of A related to this B is Va minus Vb, just like previous questions, the same type of question, somewhat related question has been, relative velocity question has been discussed on the same point. If you subtract Vb from Ba, you will get V u minus gt, minus of minus gt, that is equal to plus, it will come, you will get u. So that's why, so just relative only, you should be very careful in using the signs, then otherwise you will be mistaken, then you will be getting u. Next 24. Next question. And that is a aeroplane is making or you moving with uniform speed along the circle. Then at completing the half of the revolution, what will be what is the velocity change? That means as shown in the figure, at the initial point v is equal to in one direction, and after half of the revolution, its velocity will be entirely in opposite direction. That means if the initial velocity is 100, then final velocity will be after the half revolution, it is minus 100. Then the change in velocity will be the v final minus v initial, small change in it. V final minus v initial, that is V final minus V initial. That means you can take in another way also. If you take initial velocity as minus 100, that will be the final velocity will be plus 100. Here it signifies that both are in entirely opposite direction and magnitude is same. Change in velocity is equal to Vf minus Vn, 100 minus 100, that means 200 kilometers per hour. Here the main idea behind it is the sign of the initial velocity is opposite to that of the final velocity. That's all. If you get that point, then change in velocity will get using 2 minuses plus, then it will be 200 kilometers per hour. Next comes to the fifth question. A man is throwing balls in the air. He throws a second ball after the first ball is reached at highest point. That means the time gap between the first ball and second ball will be the time that the first ball has taken to reach the highest point. That means if you are able to find out the time taken to reach the maximum height will be the time gap between the first ball and second ball. Then using that the same formula, that is equal to u square minus u square by 2a is equal to h. Then that is v is equal to 0, u minus at, that is it has taken 2 seconds to reach the highest point. Then using these things and using the formula v is equal to u plus at, v is equal to u plus at, then you will get u is equal to 20 meters per second. Then you will use what is called this v square minus u square by 2a to find out h, that is maximum height, that is equal to 0 square minus 20 square minus 2 into 10, then you will get 20 meters as the maximum height. That means here first using v is equal to u plus at, you will find out the initial velocity. From that one using the formula v square minus u square by 2a is equal to h, we will find out the h easily. Only thing is we have to get the main point, that is the time gap between the first ball and second ball, throwing gap between the time interval between these two, first and second ball throwing time gap will be, time interval will be the nothing but it is equal to the time that the first ball is travelled to reach the highest point. If you get that idea, then you will easily find out the initial velocity, which can be used in the finding out the maximum height. That's all. If you are able to know that, then it will be easy. Next to the another one. Displacement is y in centimeters. A body varies with the time t. Here also time dependent displacement has been given. You have to find out differentiating once you will get velocity, and differentiating twice you will get acceleration. Acceleration minus 4.3. When it will comes to 0, in the sense then we have to put final velocity is equal to 0. Here we have calculated initial velocity by putting t is equal to 0 as 16, and a we have arrived at minus 4 by 3 using the formula u is equal to v is equal to u plus at, where u is equal to 0 when it comes to rest, then is equal to u is equal to 16, that we have got it. U is equal to 6, v is equal to 16, that you have got it as initial velocity by putting t is equal to 0, then substituting the acceleration value minus 4 by 3, then by simple mathematical transformations, 16 is equal to 4 by 3 2, then you will get t is equal to 12 seconds. Right, next. A body is projected vertically upward with velocity u and after some time it returns to the point which it has been projected. Average velocity and average speed of the body of the after the total time after total flight. Here it is very easy, because if it has been projected, the velocity is, if you take velocity of upward in upward direction as positive and velocity in downward as negative, each every point the velocity is same but directions are different while going upward while coming downwards. So average velocity, as in another way also you can say that if a body goes and comes back to the same position, the displacement is zero, then velocity will be automatically zero. So that is very easy, that velocity is zero. But if you comes to the speed, there is no direction is taken into the account. That's why average velocity when it is going upward means starting velocity may be u and final velocity is 0, then average velocity is equal to v by 2 in the upward direction. Likewise, the starting velocity in downward is 0, that is final velocity will be v, then likewise you will get 0 plus v by 2, that is equal to v by 2, then average velocity will be v by 2 plus v by 2 by 2, that is equal to v by 2. So that's that's why you can conclude that the velocity, average velocity will be 0 and average speed will be v by 2. This is the thing. Simple understanding. If you understood the subject, all the things can be done easily and perfectly. Okay, all the best, my dear students. I have completed some important questions that you may think of, and likewise you can also think trivially about how the same question can be asked in another way, so that you can, if it is twisted, you can easily resolve it and come to the correct solution, and you will get good marks with flying colors. Okay, all the best. Thank you once again. If you got any doubts, the phone numbers are the link has been given. You can put your questions and your doubts will be cleared pin to pin, so that you can clarify your doubts. If you got any doubts, don't keep it up like that. You have to clear your doubt. That is very, very important. If you keep the doubt, that doubt will multiply and it will harm you a lot. That's why clear up your doubts. Okay, my dear students, see you. Good night.